All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Tonight, we have a great show planned for you. Stick around. It is a live call-in show. We'll be right back at 224400Marf. Call in if you have a video or a crazy sighting or want to talk about what is happening right now. We'll talk about, of course, Shinzo Abe and his life ending in a very dramatic fashion and much, much more. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. If you've never been here before, remember you can always go over to marfooglenews.com and find a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document, archived document that we show you here today. That way you know exactly where this information is coming from, which document it was sourced, and then you can go back retrospectively and check our work. Now, if we do make a mistake, we try to fix it, or at least try to publish another video that does fix it. There was a slight mistake last week, and I believe we did fix that already. Again, so there is a lot of stuff happening, and things are changing so quickly. It is absolutely insane. I did a video earlier over on Marfoogle News, our main channel, about, of course, the former Prime Minister of Japan, and his tragic passing by the hands of a handmade bang bang. And then, of course, I also talked about the Seattle fault line and how people in Seattle will have 3 minutes to run to high ground. All of that is over there, so make sure to go check it out. Now, over on the website, when you click on today's thumbnail, history is repeating. We all feel it coming. You will see that every single link, article, tweet, video, picture, document is there. On top of that, there is an overflow section at the very bottom. That overflow content is the stuff that is too hot for TV or the stuff we couldn't fit into the show, so make sure to hit that. On the right side, there are affiliates. Those are essentially the products that we mentioned during today's show, and those are, again, a way that you can support us and get something out of it and to actually prepare yourself. So remember, all of those boxes are direct links to our affiliates. All right, and then let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. You know, I have never been better.
So, so we're going to be taking calls tonight at 224400Marf. But Dex, before you do get on those phones, we, of course, have Asteroid bennu reveals its surface like a plastic ball pit. Did you... So first of all, I kind of talked about this last year a lot because of all of the things and all of the different operations that were going on with bennu and all of these other asteroids. What do you think about this?
Well, it got me thinking, like, if you try to land something on it or shoot something into it, does it just, go right through? I don't know how when they describe this ball pit, I just think of like this whole notion of sinking in and it's just, super soft and, but I don't know what that actually means, technically speaking, when it comes time to try to do some sort of evasive action with with an asteroid that may be coming into our orbit or into our general vicinity. If they tried to actually deflect it, like what would this mean? And so it's kind of interesting.
So one question I've had for a really long time now is, of course, they've been searching and they've been finding tons of different asteroids, and they track them. And once somebody discovers it, it's named after them. And there are thousands and thousands of asteroids. They do say that they have, I believe, tracked and marked, I want to say 95% of the big ones, but a lot of the mid-sized ones are the ones that really have a kind of a sneak-in effect, and especially the ones that are coming from the sun's direction. Now, I know that we have internal debates and people of all different opinions here, that some don't actually believe in space, but I do want to say that if there was any truth to the fact that there's 5% of these big ones, it's still not logged and in there, or if there was one out there that they have logged, that they have changed the numbers to, and that it is actually going to hit at some point. I just want to point out, I've talked about for years, is kind of this obvious kind of weird thing that started happening a few years ago, where all of these countries started going into the space race again, talking about going to the moon and going to Mars, and of course harvesting and actually terraforming other planets and all of this, sending DNA samples like a Noah's Ark to the moon and burying them down deep into our mountains. So like it kind of gives you the this glowing kind of ball there that you think may actually hold a secret, like they may have already known about something. Now, I believe it was a Apophis that they first thought was actually going to hit us in 2029 or 2036. Then they re-looked at it and they adjusted the numbers from basically about to hit us to not hitting us. I just wonder, how much could they actually fiddle with that, with all of the different people with telescopes around the world looking at this stuff? Is it actually harder for somebody at the mid-level telescope to actually do something like that and see it and to tell if it was going to hit us? I'm not an astronomer and I don't have a crazy fancy telescope, but I do wonder. People always quote that official website. I have a friend who's a big YouTuber, and he goes by those numbers and says it can't be possible because of those numbers. I'm just saying, if they edited those numbers, could that be a reason why there's a lot of changes? There's also a lot of other things that kind of are going on right now that seem like things are changing. We all feel something big coming, and almost everyone I've talked to has a really bad gut feeling about the future. At the same time, we have to look at this and kind of try to be positive as positive as we can about what is happening right now. That's why we try to, give you guys solutions or try to help you guys prepare for things that are going wrong. As far as if you want to call in on this or any other asteroid, do you have a theory of why everyone is going to space, why we're doing all of these asteroid missions like OSIRIS-REx, which is just talked about in that article, about of course, the Hammer mission, all of these different Hayabusa 2, all sorts of asteroid-destroying experiments going on, including Xi creating lasers, Vlad creating missiles, all sorts of stuff. And then a passing star shifting Neptune's orbit could wreck the solar system, or at least that's what New Scientist is saying. It says if a star flying past our solar system moved Neptune's orbit by just 0.1%, it could eventually cause the other planets to smash into one another or get thrown out of the solar system entirely. It says if a neighboring star gets too close, it could drive the solar system into pandemonium. This may be obvious for encounters that immediately shift the planets by a significant amount. But new simulations suggest that it can happen even when stellar flyby itself only has a small effect, but later snowballs into major instability. Garrett Brown and Hanno Reen of the University of Toronto performed 2,880 simulations of. And again, actually, it didn't load the rest of it, did it? That is unfortunate. So basically what is going on here is they're looking at these things, and essentially if something like this moved, it would totally wreck everything. It makes me wonder, though, about every little other thing that is going on in space. If something moved just a little bit, now they say, and it's accepted fact, at least in the science community, that our actual solar system is expanding and we are actually flying away from everything. So what do you think about this? Give me a call at 2244-00-MARF. And then Shinzo Abe, was forcefully banged dead by a handmade weapon. Now, you got to be careful around that stuff or you get age restricted. But again, this is pretty crazy stuff because the gentleman actually sat there and waited to be arrested. It sounds like he has a Japanese background, or at least his last name. But it says Tetsuya Yamagami arrested after Japan's former prime minister is assassinated. Now, this is a huge deal, and we've talked about watching Japan for a long time, and that's not information we had. That was information that came into us through different military members of our group. In fact, at least 6 said you have to watch Japan. They also mentioned about all of the different things that could be going on with Japan as well, as far as if Japan gets involved in something, there's a very good chance that we will as well. And of course, if you go back to WW2, they are definitely a very dedicated country to their culture, to their pride, to everything else. And someone just took out their former prime minister, who was beloved by many, hated by some, like all prime ministers. It says Shinzo Abe, Japan's longest-serving former prime minister, has died after being hit in the neck and heart as he made a campaign speech in the south country of earlier today. And this was, of course, yesterday. It says the 67-year-old, who served for a total of 9 years over 2 terms, was banged down in the city of Nara around 11:30 a.m. as he rallied support for his party's local candidate ahead of elections on Sunday. It says his death was announced by the ruling Liberal Democratic Party 6 hours later, shortly after wife Aki arrived at his bedside. Doctors said Abe was in the right side of his neck and torso with wounds deep enough to reach his heart. He was bleeding profusely, and when he arrived to the hospital, he was given a lot of blood transfusions but could not be saved. Essentially, he lost so many at such a very in a quick time that they could not save him. Now, this gentleman apparently was behind him. From the video that I've seen, was walked up kind of right behind him and then hit this thing. What it doesn't say is if anybody else was hurt. This was kind of a shot bang type of thing where it kind of shot out these pellets or pieces of metal or whatever it was. But him perishing is a gigantic deal. This man was connected to every president, every prime minister, every queen, all sorts of things. When he was prime minister, he was doing a whole lot of deals. He was also a very prominent proponent of militarizing Japan. Now, as far as he was the one who, obviously, when he was reigning, he actually was the one who was in charge when they were putting all these things about changing their constitution, about changing the fact that they would only respond in defense if they were attacked. Such as, like, if something's going on in another country, they're not going to go get involved unless that country actually attacked them. But they were actually changing things so they could get involved in other things. One of those things was they were very fearful of Xi taking Taiwan. Taiwan is a big deal to them, and they believe that if they take Taiwan, there have even been quotes by some of their officials, they believe that they may be in the crosshairs next. So this is something very weird. I already saw right away, right after this happened, I already saw people like Sticks and Hammer and other analysts go in there and essentially say that they believe that this was Xi and his country or some sort of op like that. That is not confirmed. In fact, what it is so far confirmed is that this Yamagami guy had differences. But why he did it, again, there's more coming out, but I doubt we're going to get the full truth, so I take everything with a grain of salt. As far as there are reasons, and there were actual words said back and forth between Xi and between Japan. So who knows how Japan is going to react to this if they do end up finding out. If Japan finds out that this was in any way related to any country, they're going to be very, very pissed. And Japan is obviously, we know through our U.S. history, they don't mess around. They even knew going into Pearl Harbor that that they were probably going to lose, or they knew that we had more ships, they knew that we had more planes, they knew we had more weapons, they knew we had more of everything, and they still did it. And you saw how they ended up. Some of those men dive bombed right into it and gave their life for that cause. Obviously, everybody knows the tale of the kamikazes. But these, just like a lot of other countries, these guys are very tough people. So I'm assuming that a lot of folks are grieving right now over his death. Some are cheering, apparently. In fact, Xi state media, there are many articles out right now basically cheering on the fact that he has passed. Some say karma, some say that he deserved it, some say all sorts of different things. But this is a pretty big deal. In fact, I hope that this doesn't somehow butterfly effect into some sort of WW3 situation. What do you guys think? Let me know. I want to hear your opinions down below, and of course in chat, and of course on the phone at 224400MARF. Again, that's 2244006273 if you'd like to call in. And then how the FBI tapped the world. It says, hacking, disinformation, surveillance, cyber is Motherboard's podcast and reporting on the dark umbrella of the internet. It says, for years, criminal organizations around the world were buying special phones called Anom. It says the pitch was that it was completely anonymous and secure, a way for criminals to do business without authorities watching over their shoulder. It turned out that the whole thing was an elaborate honeypot, and that the FBI and law enforcement agencies around the world were listening in. They would help develop the phones themselves. It says the fallout from that revelation is ongoing, and here at Motherboard, we've just learned how the phones work. On this episode of Cyber, Motherboard senior staff writer Joseph Cox comes to discuss it. It says we're recording Cyber Live on Twitch. Okay, just got to skip that. Sorry, some of these load really messed up. In fact, okay, this didn't load either. Sorry, Dex, we've got two stories that actually did not load. That's rare. Either way, so I'll explain what the original article says while I pull it up. And let's see here. Let's go over to the original. Basically,
sorry about that, Adam.
Yeah, that's okay. Basically, the Anom phones, which we talked about, what was it, like last year? I want to say it was at least a year ago. They were a giant honeypot, and they ended up being put on by the FBI. So this is another case. In fact, we've covered, I want to say, 3 similar things where criminals actually think that they're using a software or a phone or something else that's supposed to be legit, when actually it was just a really clever honeypot by the FBI. So it's a pretty huge deal for this to happen. But again, now it's all the information is coming out. This is what one of the screens looked like here on an Anom. Did you ever use an Anom? And again, most people won't admit it, but some people use these as burners for other reasons, as far as, with their significant other and other things. This was like a untraceable kind of burner, or at least so they thought. Do you have thoughts on this? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below, and of course, let me know in the chat. Florida RN, thank you 2 minutes ago. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. And Austin, thank you. At Cactus Jane, you are correct. We have no effect on Mother Earth. Austin, again, there's a huge debate, and it's crazy that they're basically shutting down all debate on that subject everywhere you go. Austin, we don't depend on Vlad at the guy who said that. No, and you know what? Austin, that's a really great point, and going back to our main kind of thing here, as history is repeating, Japan was actually depending on us for a whole lot of stuff. In fact, Japan was depending on us for oil, and that didn't matter. I want to kind of pull up some similarities between what happened with Japan and the U.S. and what is now happening with Xi and the U.S., as far as the same kind of practicing, the same kind of rhetoric, the same kind of talk, the same kind of drills, and as some of the same kind of actions. Before Japan actually attacked us, they ended up very publicly telling their embassies to burn all the papers and to burn every kind of piece of information that was inside the country and everywhere else. Which, again, Xi and we went through all of this in the last year and a half, where some of their embassies ended up burning all of their information. And then you had the kind of drills that they were doing, how they were practicing flying. The pilots that they did actually train Japan were a very select few. For this operation that they came up with over 9 months, which was Pearl Harbor, which again, there's weird things about Pearl Harbor as well. There's very weird things, like why did we move our carriers out and why all these weird things happen. But again, with that whole thing, they actually were training in an area just like the area that they were going to be attacking. Right now, we, of course, see Xi training not only in the desert with exact replicas of our carriers, but also training in different ports. In fact, this picture is taken from one of their tests where they are testing a weapon that would destroy ports. As far as our ports, there are training areas that look like ours via satellite photos. So they are copying almost the same kind of thing that Japan did before WW2. There were peace talks being done. Now, it's more so with Vlad in the U.S. right now, but Vlad is, of course, no limit partners with Xi, and they have just built a physical bridge. Xi is basically making up with all of the world that is going through Xi and his country. They are basically buying up what everybody else didn't from Vlad. Countries like India are buying 6 times the amount of oil than they did last year to make up for all of the countries that aren't. And when they say that the whole world is sanctioning them, it's actually not the whole world. If you look at a world map, there's many places that are not a part of that. It's essentially NATO that is sanctioning and the NATO countries. But the rest of the world is not doing much of anything. So, but as far as those peace talks, we were in current peace talks with Japan when they attacked. They may have a few hours before pulled out, like 6 hours before, I think, pulled out of peace talks, and they put out a lot of clues. As far as Xi has put out a lot of clues that they are basically, we are their enemy. They have made it public in their country. They have put out their government-approved, essentially a piece that says that we're behind the 2019 event and those 2 years of events, that we were the ones who made it. We made it out of base and all of these stuff. That is what they're claiming. And they told their entire country through in fact, multiple of their main medias. So for people not to wake up and see the threat right ahead of them, I believe, and me even just talking about this is why I think things are kind of popping out of the blue. It's very creepy to think about, but again, the amount of media that is not only controlled or paid for or, of course, invested in, it's kind of scary, especially when we cover stuff regarding, they're talking about changing Spider-Man and removing the Statue of Liberty because it's not patriotic enough. I mean, these are the kind of things that they're actually doing. So very, very scary stuff as far as what is happening. And history is repeating. If people don't see that, then just please go in and look at what happened with Pearl Harbor. Look at WW1. Look at the different events that led up to it. We are in almost the same scenario in so many different areas. It's insane. If there's any history buffs here, if you want to put other reasons that this is like right before WW2, then please do. I'd love to hear your examples as well. Marianne Spinelli, thank you. Sean Morris, thank you for subscribing. And Marianne Spinelli, thank you for supporting Independent. I appreciate you. And again, the phones are open now, 224-400-MARF. And I'm going to go over and see if we have everybody here. Let's see. Okay, we have that up. And let's go over here. The number to call is 2244-006273. And it looks like the lines are ringing off the hook. So first we have Wicked World, W Wicked World, first-time caller, talking about strange anomalies in the sky and guidestones, and actually has a video calling from Tennessee. Will you get Wicked World on? It looks like they have to go through the process. I do want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out Energy. Energy creates one of the most flexible and one of the most amazing solar generators out there. In fact, Energy is powering my whole studio. It is actually powering both of my power bars, all of my lights, all of my music. And this is, again, how I do my uninterrupted power supply. It is through energy. And again, I have the Flex 1500. I did it with one battery for months. I actually just added a second battery, which I actually didn't need. And I have 4 panels. It is an amazing setup, but what's even cooler is it can be expanded up to 96 batteries. If you have been thinking about actually getting a generator, I highly recommend solar. One, because gas is $1 million per gallon, and two, this doesn't have any nauseous fumes that come out of it. You can actually put it inside your home, and you could sleep next to it technically because it is absolutely silent. That means somebody from 3 blocks away, when the power goes out for real, will not hear that you have a generator. The first thing that would happen in an SHTF, almost every prepper can tell you, is that people are going to be looking for people that are comfortable and that do have those backups. If people really do lose our grid, something like this would be an absolute lifesaver. So again, if you're looking into a professional way to do this and an actual quality way to do this, then go over to marfooglenews.com/energy. Again, this is upwards of $170 off on certain packages when you go through our code. That is only for the Marfoogle family. Again, it took us months to get that, and now that we have it, I hope everybody utilizes those sales. And again, they are all shipping out at different times right now, and the ship date is very, very near for those who just ordered. So again, marfooglenews.com/energy with an I. All right, Dex, let's get our next caller. It looks like Wicked World. Wicked World, you're live on Marfoogle News.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm doing good.
I actually wasn't expecting Wicked World to be a woman, so sorry about that. All right, so Wicked World, you have a video. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What would you say now?
I'll just pull up your video and I'll let you talk. It looks like there's about a second and a half delay, so I'm just going to be quiet. And then, can you tell us what is going on with the video here?
Oh yeah. Okay, so I guess you can say that I'm a sky watcher. I have a DJI Mini 2 drone that I use to do sky watching with. And I also have a IXOS TMC go-to computerized mount that I use as well. And I'm just out there to capture anything strange that I can. So on the video with the sun, it should be time marked into like 8:52 or 8:59. When you zoom in and slow down, there's this thing that like flies out of the sun. It's like up to the top left, and you can see it looks like a camera flare, but like I said, I use my DJI Mini 2 drone, and those don't really capture camera flares because they're built to not do that. So it's kind of strange to figure out what that is. Like, I was just on GoFon, his YouTube channel, and he was looking at the video too, and he couldn't figure out what it was that flew up out of the sun.
So this is taken from the sky. You've got your Mini 2, which is a smaller drone, and you're panning right now. So what is the I'm sorry, the timestamp is at 8:52, is that correct?
Yeah, well, you got to fast forward it to about 8:59. 8:52 is where I would start at. And then if you keep looking and watch it, you'll see like a little thing that flies up out of it on the top left. And this is another thing that's crazy is, I fly my drone every day. And, I have it programmed to whenever I put it to come home, it always comes home with me. And, everybody keeps talking about CERN, when they fired it up, that it, made the Earth's orbit kind of off or whatever. Well, the next morning, after CERN fired up and the same day that the stones exploded, my drone, whenever I go home, it's like the Earth's tilt is shifted because it went to my neighbor's back porch. It's like the geofence location of it was messed up, and that never happens. And then, like, the power wires, like around here where I live, have been making this funny ringing sound. And also the ISS space station, oddly enough, has been like flying over us every night where I live at too. Like I have a video of the ISS flying over on my channel too. So it's like, all these strange things are like happening close to where I live. So it's like, is it because I live right beside Oak Ridge? Because I'm Knoxville and Oak Ridge, Okay, all right. So this is the sun. It rises always like in the east, and then like it goes down like over in the west where I live. And this is sunrise one day whenever it flew up out of it.
So I'm trying to find what you're talking about on the video. You said the top left corner at about 8:52. I've gone past it a couple times, and I think I've missed it.
Okay, keep going. Do you see a part where it'll be zooming in? It'll get bright. Like I zoom in, I slow it down, and then I zoom in. Let's see, what time stamp am I right here? Oh, wait.
Okay, we're right at 8:52 right now. We are now past. So I think I missed it. Is it very next to the sun, or all the way up in the top left corner?
It's like right next to the sun. You might, if you keep on going, because I zoom in closer, like let it play. Just keep letting it play, and you'll see where I zoom in and I cropped in on it, and then when you look up to the left on the top, like I'm slowing it down, you see that little thing that flew out of it.
Oh my goodness!
Did you see it?
Okay, now I see it. Okay, so
I did my research, right, to try to figure out what it was. And I know around that time, the ISS space station was like, that was the orbit that it was going in. But that day, at that time, that's not where the ISS space station was. So it's not the ISS space station. Plus, it moved way too fast to be the ISS space station.
So watch right here. Just right. What is that? Is that a glitch? What the heck? So I'm going to go back 10 seconds. Watch carefully. I'm going to see if I think most of you can see my mouse right here. Watch right there. I'm going to try to get a freeze frame on it. Let's see here. Watch right here. I'm going to try to push play and oh, there it was. It goes by so fast. It almost looks like something is behind it that just turned on a flashlight or something. I want to know if anybody has, does anybody have a natural explanation for that? I mean, it's not a sundog. It's more like it's a bright flash. I mean, it's as bright as the sun, but it almost looks like there's like a invisible ring, like it's only part of the light shining past something or reflecting off of something by the sun. So watch right here.
Okay, now this is the strange thing too is that like at the bottom there's like a big orange mist that like encircles all this down at the bottom. Like that's earlier in the video, you can see all that. But like
Boom.
This day, and you gotta remember this is a drone. I'm like way up. I'm probably about 500 meters up in the sky actually with my drone camera. So there's no way that I had something in front of it flying. Like that actually flew out of the sun because I'm like zoomed in 500 meters high. So, there's no way that it can be fake.
I wonder if that could that be a huge solar flare that most people, just popped and then, was going some other direction or something. In fact, I wonder, does this have timestamp stuff? We could even have Wages World look and see if there was any major solar event that happened at the exact time. Very odd. You can kind of guess that it's around sunset. What day was this? This was the day of the CERN?
It was... no. This was before CERN. This was taken like 2 weeks ago. I've had this like posted up on my channel for about 2 weeks. This is like... a while ago. I don't know what I know it was like 2 weeks ago. I don't know the exact date.
That's okay. Well, you can always
message us.
You can always message us if you do look up the exact date and time. If you can find that out, because usually it has that data on the actual video. If you right click it when it's uploaded to the computer. If you do that, you can probably find out when it was. The metadata says it. When it's from. Well, Wicked World, what a great video! And then, of course, you are a first-time caller, so I'm assuming that nobody has been sent over. Basically, we're going to send people over. Wicked World with 2 W's. Well, actually 3 W's. Wicked World. Again, if anybody wants to go over and check out this video for themselves or other videos, make sure to go say hi. Again, Wicked World, thank you for calling in today.
Hey, I appreciate it, Marv. And, more subs, the more videos I'll make. And, I'm a sky watcher. I'll show everybody the truth of what's really in the skies.
All right, thank you so much. And Wicked World from Tennessee, if you want to go check out that video, I would say to any new creator, just don't think of subs. Think of as them as people, and I don't know. I know she actually means well, because that is what they are. They're subs, right? That's what we call them. I've talked to Alaska Prepper on this too. He doesn't like that either. But I do find that, everybody calls it that. But I don't know. I don't think people are, subscribers. They're more of people. But if you guys want to check out, she sounds like a very sweet woman. Go over and check out Wicked World. She is, of course, starting out. So if you guys can give her a hand, that would be awesome. If she can get to 1,000, again, she could end up not only getting monetized, but the ability to actually go live from her phone. And who knows, she might be, as a Skywatcher, she might catch something and it would be on live. So if you guys want to go give her a hand, then go over and do so. Her link will be on marfooglenews.com. All right, and then Elon Musk notifies Twitter he is terminating deal. This is like, really, after all of this, this is just, and everybody thought he was gonna save the day. It says billionaire Elon Musk wants to end his deal to buy Twitter, according to a letter sent by a lawyer on his behalf to the company. That's what they are. Company's chief legal officer Friday. In the letter disclosed in a Securities and Exchange Commission filing, Skadden Arp's attorney Mike Ringler charged that, quote, Twitter is not complied with its contractual obligations. It says that Ringler claimed that Twitter did not provide Musk with relevant business information he requested, as Ringler said that the contract would require. Musk has previously said that he wanted to assess Twitter's claims that 5% of its monetizable daily active users, MDAUs, are spam accounts. It says Twitter has failed or refused to provide this information. So first of all, this may be a kind of a cop-out by Elon just to get out of it, or he didn't know what he was getting into, or I don't know. But you would think even if it was 50%, you would think if I don't know. I thought he was like doing this because he was going to save the damn thing. I don't know. But, obviously, if they're not giving them information, maybe he thinks that they're trying to sabotage it before they hand it over. I don't know. Them not handing over that information, it's pretty telling. But who knows what the real truth is? We're not, behind the scenes with this. So all of this talk over it, it actually kind of just irritates me, because it's like, after all this, you're going to terminate the deal. I guess that's what they want. That's what Twitter wants. Twitter and all of their people, through that leaked video and through the leaked chats of their employees, they all wanted him to do this. You would think out of principle he would just buy the damn thing. But it is $44 billion. I guess he was trying to get a cheaper price if there were more bots, or that he was paying too much, which kind of doesn't make sense either, because he paid way over to be able to do it, because he was basically making it so juicy they couldn't say no. And then all of this, and now he's terminating the deal? Just nuts. By the way, I know you're busy on the phones and you're lining up our next call, Dex, but if you want to chime in at any point about the Twitter thing, I know that was, this just blows my mind, that all of that, and then he's asking to terminate it. All right, and then Snapchat parent taps Secret Service Director James Murray as Chief Security Officer. That's, again, a Snapchat parent taps a Secret Service director as the chief security officer. It says James Murray is retiring as director of the U.S. Secret Service after a 27-year with the agency to take a position with Snapchat's parent company as chief security officer. Murray will join Snapchat after his term with the Secret Service ends July 30th, 2022. He will report directly to CEO and co-founder Evan Spiegel. We're thrilled to welcome Jim Murray to Snap and look forward to him joining our team on August 1st. So think about this, folks. The guy that's been in charge of Secret Service that spies on people, that makes sure that nobody's going to try anything. And again, Secret Service does more than just protect the president. They protect all of the politicians. They protect, all sorts of things. They look into serious fraud allegations of counterfeit stuff. They look into everything. In fact, if you find a fake $100 bill and take it to the bank, they actually will make you fill out a form and send it off to Secret Service. They do a whole lot of stuff. What creeps me out is, why do they want this guy for Snapchat? I'm glad I don't have a Snapchat, but you know who does? Pretty much every young person on the planet. What do you think about this? Give me a call at 224-400-6273. Press option 4 to get through straight to Dex. Very, very weird stuff. Hey, thank you, mods, everybody that is down in the chat below. Thank you over on D-Live. I appreciate all of you guys. And again, thank you for all of the D-Live crew hanging out and having a fun time. J-Girl, that's me. Thank you. Says much love. Thank you. Yobi, I appreciate that. Hello from Middle Tennessee. And Kimbria, happy Friday, Foogle fam. And then Vicky K. Thank you. I love Jesus forever. Jay the Jeweler, thank you for joining and following. Appreciate that very much. Looks like we have a lot of great people in. Sue Gibson, Debbie A., Vic Ellie. We have Never Leva and D-Tech Prophet. We have John Black, Lord Andrew, Mid Mofro. I love that. Let's see here. We've got LPS. We have Uni. What is going on? We have Gem. We have Elsie. We have Bear Claws, Scott D. Daly, Jen Boyles, Cypher 9, Unseen Apex, William H. What is going on, guys? Lovely to see all of you. Tesla 474, Danny May. Lovely to see you as well. Teresa Young, Labels, Jen, Christian. So many great people. Says, me neither. No F-book, no Snap, no nothing. Paul Stone. Let's see here. Cognitable. Fast-paced. Hello, Adam, Dex, and Room. What's going on? And then G researchers develop device they say can test loyalty of ruling party members. Now, again, this is coming out of G's country. It says researchers in the eastern G province of Anhui say that they have developed a device that can determine loyalty to the ruling CCP using facial scans. That's right. They're going to look at your face and go, you're loyal. No joke. It says a short video uploaded to the Weibo account of the Hefei Comprehensive National Science Center on June 30th said that the project was an example of artificial intelligence empowering party building. The Weibo post was later deleted, but a text summary of the video produced in the honor of the CCP's July 1st anniversary remained available on the Internet Archive on Monday. It says, quote, guaranteeing the quality of party member activities is turning into a problem in need of coordination. It says, quote, this equipment is kind of smart ideology using AI technology to extract and integrate facial expressions, EEG readings of your heart, and skin conductivity, making it possible to ascertain levels of concentration, recognition, and mastery of ideological and political education so as to better understand its effectiveness. Do you guys realize, so we had the chief security officer, chief software officer of the Pentagon quit and said that he's quitting, and on his way out said, I'm quitting, I don't want basically blood on my hands, and Xi and his country have now surpassed the U.S. in AI technology. Now, this sounds absurd to us, but what if this is not only something that's true, but what if this is something that's extremely scary, and this is going to change the way we even think about technology and everything else? We're talking about we're getting into the area where they're possibly mind reading or telling if you're loyal or not, if it's correct. But they're saying they're using AI to do this along with other things that are actually measuring our body. Now, think about if this was utilized with cell phones or the next iteration of whatever the next smartphone is, whether that smartphone is now embedded in our arm or embedded in our skin or embedded in our eyes like contact lenses that can, we make calls through our Neuralink. This stuff is all happening. We are in the craziest generation ever. In history, I mean, look at just 100 years ago. We had absolutely none of this. We are in basically this, the new territory, a brand new world, and everything is about to change. This is why people are worried. We are living through this. When I was a kid, we didn't have cell phones. Now, not only do we have cell phones, we're talking about putting implants in people's heads now on a global scale. Think about this. We're talking about having robots do our laundry. We're talking about robots flying planes. This isn't a science fiction film. This is our future, and it's to me very, very terrifying. What do you guys think of it? Let me know in the comments below, or give us a call at 224-400-MARF. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for being here. T. Bori, for Pete's sake, Ricardo, Labels, and Beer Juice. Everybody that has popped in. All right, it looks like our next caller is being lined up right now. We have James, who is going to be talking about the Georgia Guidestones. And again, that Gen X dude is up on deck. So while we get James on, I do want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out marfooglenews.com/prep. You can go over and get yourself long-term survival food. Long-term survival food, MREs, are now getting harder and harder to get. So the fact that you have right here a way to go get them, I highly recommend at least going and checking them out, especially they have discounts like the 3-month supply is $150 off. Really, there's not too many discounts much of anywhere for these kind of things because the demand is so high and the supply is low. Freeze-dried foods are actually becoming scarce. So scarce, tomato. If you haven't already, make sure to go check it out. You can store this food for years, over a decade shelf life. Again, make sure to go check it out. marfooglenews.com/prep. Again, this will get you through any amount of time that you need. Again, if you won't need 6 months, a year, 2 years, this is again a way you can do it. And then also they have great things like battery banks. They have all sorts of power solutions. They have, of course, water filtration. They have air filtration. They even have iodine tablets for those that are worried about any kind of nuclear event. Again, go over to marfooglenews.com/prep. When you do, not only are you getting an amazing product out of it, you are also helping our independent channel at the same time and reinforcing our growth. So thank you, everybody that does that. We cover controversial stuff here, so a lot of people don't realize almost everything is not suitable. So thank you, everybody that does go over and get stuff through us. It helps a lot. All right, and then let's bring on our next caller. It looks like we have James on the line, also from Tennessee, talking about the Georgia Guidestone. James, are you there?
Yes, sir. Hey, Adam. How you doing?
Hey, good. So, James, you wanted to talk about the Guidestones. What's up with that?
But first, you had mentioned the time going by and the technology and everything, and just a few moments ago, and everything's going increasingly more and more and more technology. But with the Guidestone, when it came down, everybody was so, on our side, my side everybody was so excited that it came down. But I think I had a good feeling. I mean, I can't prove this, but there's a reason why that came down, and the reason was what was written on those stones, and the people that put that there, when it was put up, they already knew when this goes down, this is our time to start. So when the Guidestones came down, I have a feeling this is when everything starts on that stone.
Well, and you know that there was a time capsule there as well. We talked about that, and that just blew my mind. I forgot that actually some part of it, or the main stone, or the podium or whatever's there. I've never been there in person, but there was some sort of time capsule there. Doesn't anybody think about that? Like it's blown up. Is the time capsule still there? Did they blow it up and take that time capsule? That's another thing. That might have been motivation. If somebody thought, oh, the time capsule is inside the Hindi tablet, did they try to do that because they wanted to see what they put in it? Is that time capsule there, or did that time capsule contain something? I mean, like, I see this out of a movie. Like, was there a nuclear, a part to a weapon or something in there that was, break glass in case of reset or something? I don't know. Just the whole thing is crazy.
Yeah, I think it is a bigger reason why it did happen that we don't know about. I think it's just sending a message to everybody around the world knows about it, period. So I think that's just sending a message, like a postcard, to the other people saying, okay, we need to start stage one.
Well,
this 2030,
I kind of agree. I actually kind of agree on this one because I personally said, is this a sign? Was this a message to somebody? Was this them saying that this has served its purpose and now it's being broken? We're taking the time capsule, or did somebody find out what was in it? This happened, and then all of a sudden, watch. I bet you, all of a sudden, we're gonna have some crazy events go off. It just seems like what a crazy time for this to happen.
Yeah, we're just beginning on this. That coming down is also erasing evidence, if you look at it that way.
Well,
and if
there's so many pictures of it.
People start posting things. They can, pictures and stuff of what it said. They can always bring in the internet police and say, no, that's fake. You can't do that, and take it down and just let everybody believe what they know now.
Well,
at that time when it happens.
Someone said, history is essentially history is the lies that everybody agreed on, right? So who knows? In 10 years, Snopes.com could say, oh, yeah, this is false. This never existed, or it sort of existed, but it was an opinion, and it wasn't concrete. It was this, who knows? They could wipe it from the internet if they wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah, who is Snopes? Two people sitting on the couch eating ice cream or whatever.
It's actually one guy. It was one guy who started that, and I believe he was from my state. And he sold out. Yeah.
But you see what I mean, though. We're I don't know. It's just too crazy for me. But I don't want to go there. But I just wanted to pick out on the guidestone itself, and when it came down, all Christians. I'm a Christian. I was glad that it came down, and a lot of people are, but there's something else behind it, and I'm waiting to see what
did you see the video that Dice just put out as far as on the Bohemian Grove? I shared that with some.
I've seen that one. I've seen other videos about
one thing he did a great job on making it simple and explaining what it was, and then putting in that video from 2000 where Mr. Alex went there and actually got it on video, and showing the interview with that gentleman who basically admitted it. Not only it's real, that it was just ungentlemanly that he filmed it or went in there. I mean, that's just creepy. That gave me the chills watching that video.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to put a shout out to Stephen bennu. He raised Israeli News Live. he put out a video of that as well, and it shows other things from ground level going into it. So it was I think it was a message. It needed to come down so they could start what was written on the tablets and erase the evidence.
Well, James, thank you so much for calling in tonight. Again, it's always a pleasure.
No problem. I appreciate it.
Well,
hey, Friday night's always the only time I can get to call in when you have it. So I appreciate everybody, and I love y'all, and God bless everybody, and just keep your head on swivel and keep stocking up. Just pray for everyone.
All right. Well,
anytime you can.
Thank you, James. And God bless you, and you have a wonderful day, okay?
All right. Thank you, Ab.
All right. Thank you so much. That was James from Tennessee. You could hear the crickets in the background. I think those were crickets or locusts, maybe. I don't know. I'm not familiar. We don't have that really around here at all. But I did want to show you, that video by Mark Dice. Holy moly. I knew about all that, but he did a good job. Like, you could share that with somebody, and it's put together in about a 15-minute period and just be like, it puts it right in your face. One thing I did not see, and I cannot believe I've never seen before, is the video of Alex interviewing one of the members of it. Oh my gosh, that gave me chills. The way that he reacted. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure to go over and check out the latest video over there. It's all about the Grove, and that place is so spooky. It reminds me, and that was in California, but it reminds me of what we saw as kids. My older sister and I saw in the woods, and we just ran. It was like people in outfits, and what I remember is pitchforks or spears with tongues on them, cow tongues, and all sorts of weird stuff. And we saw 2 seconds and we left. We were running as fast as we could. So it just reminds me of that, and looking at it reminded me of that memory. And that was like in Oregon. I want to say that was in the woods in Oregon. So I'm pretty sure that wasn't. No, I'm absolutely sure it wasn't in California. But that's like that's in California where that is. And of course there's all sorts of legends and stories about it. But the truth is, after Alex went in there in like 2000, they totally secured it up. And now there's sheriffs with canine dogs and all sorts of stuff. What a crazy, crazy world we live in, where the crazy things that you think people have tinfoil hats on is all coming out to be true. It's just absolutely absurd. So you're not crazy. Just the world is. All right. And then a Xi diplomat says reunification with Taiwan near. Cites Xi is growing comprehensive strength. So they did just release one of their new carriers, and I believe that carrier is mostly going to be used for drones. What's even crazier is a month ago we covered a piece. Basically, analysts are saying that our carriers aren't going to play a big part in the next conflict at all. In fact, they are not going to be a big strength whatsoever, because now warfare has changed. Warfare has changed so much that it's all going to be AI and drones and unmanned vehicles that will be fighting and taking lives. That is what is really terrifying about the aspect of going to conflict with a major power like Xi or Vlad. And again, everybody's pointing to Vlad. I see my picture of this is that Xi is the real thing that's gonna really affect us, and Vlad will be a part of it. I mean, this is when you actually look at the real picture of what's going on, and they show you in the media that the whole world is. It's not the whole world. It's NATO, and of course NATO just dropped a document which we just put on tonight's show. That document actually essentially names Xi and his country as a systemic challenge, along with, of course, Vlad being our number one enemy. So you're talking about they're basically formally calling them an enemy. And we've known this forever. And what's funny is this, there's another similarity between WW2 and everything else. When you ask any veteran from WW2 or any veteran specifically from Pearl Harbor, it was the start of a conflict. Us going into WW2 after Pearl Harbor, it was a conflict that everyone knew was coming. Before that, if you asked people, they're like, oh, I have a bad feeling. I think something's coming. We're going to go to conflict with these people. We're going to go to conflict with these people. Everybody knew it. I don't think people can say that that's wrong if you accept what history says. And again, now knowing how they have reflected what happens now, who knows? I wasn't born then. But if you're old enough, let me know. Did people say beforehand? Because everything I have read in every source, and it doesn't matter if it's from this side or that side, they all say that everyone knew that that conflict was coming, that it was only a matter of time. All of the media, the news leading up to it for the previous 2 years before WW2, if you go to archived newspapers, which I've dug through 400 newspapers, and holy moly, there is a lot of data and news and media. They knew they were going to go to conflict. They knew they were going to be jumping in. They knew that all this stuff was going to happen, and everybody had a bad feeling about it, just like we do today. History is repeating. And then, of course, this gentleman saying that the reunification of the two countries is approaching. They're straight up telling us this is coming closer. Our president has told us that we are going to go back to everything made in America. That was one of his quotes from one of his speeches, and he said that we're going to be making our semiconductor chips here in the U.S. ASAP. Intel is helping build a semiconductor chip factory right now as we speak. Why? Because they knew this was happening, and they knew this is going on. Which, again, lots of strange things throughout history point to the fact that this is all heading our way, and people still want to go, everything's going to be okay. There's no reason to sugarcoat it. People should be looking at what's going on. And then Putin to Ukraine. Vlad has barely started its action. This is, of course, the AP saying that with Vlad's military action in UKR in its 5th month, Vladian President Vlad on Thursday warned Kiev that it should quickly accept Moscow's terms or brace for the worst, adding ominously that Vlad has barely started its action, which a lot of us have been saying, like, I don't think they've really gone full gun-ho yet. It says, speaking in a meeting with leaders of the Kremlin-controlled parliament, Vlad accused Western allies of fueling the hostilities, charging that the, quote, West wants to fight us until the last UKR be in. It says, it's a tragedy for the UKR people, but it looks like it's heading in that direction, he added. Everyone should know that, largely speaking, we haven't even yet started anything in earnest. Now, Dex, I know that you have something lined up here. I would ask if you want to comment on this one, and then I'm going to switch over to the nuke article. If you could cover this real quick, since you have the phones lined up.
Hey, which article are you on? I'm sorry.
Well,
I was dealing with a caller.
Well, 3, your comments on Twitter, since we didn't get that, and then Vlad to UKR. Basically saying it hasn't even started its action, and then nuke war would trigger a new ice age.
Yeah. So, my thoughts on Elon specifically. He has been hinting at all these reasons why he wasn't going to or didn't like the deal, and now he's terminating it, or officially sent them a letter to terminate. It's clear. It's also clear that Twitter has come out and said they're going to sue him and try to force him to buy it. Specifically at the price that they originally agreed upon. So they think that he's in breach and he shouldn't be doing that. So they're trying to force him to buy it. Of course, that would be good for them because, their stock price is probably like $33 right now in that ballpark. And he was offering a much higher premium in his original price. But of course, his argument is it wasn't worth that when he got under the covers and started looking. It was not what they were reporting publicly, in his opinion. So that's going to be a battle. I imagine they will. And by the way, just keep in mind, he's got $1 billion on the line. If he loses, in other words, he has to pay a fee of $1 billion. He can spend, an unfathomable amount of legal hours with the most expensive lawyers in all of America and never come close to getting to that amount of money. So he can spend a lot on this and try to win his case. If it goes that far, I'll be surprised to see how far it actually goes in the courtroom. As far as how the nuclear war could trigger a new ice age. That's a new study, I guess, that came out that basically because of all of the hubbub coming out of Vlad's country, specifically around this and all the threats that are happening. They're basically telling us if this does go down and we actually have one and we survive, then we're gonna be in a mini ice age, right? That there's gonna be so much darkness in the sky. There's so much, not just fallout, but dust and things that are stirred up into the atmosphere that causes, and obviously firestorms and other things from the actual explosion. But all of that stuff is going to cause just a tremendous amount of damage to, the environment and the sky in a way that we will literally go through a small ice age because of it. It's kind of a scary thought. It's not new. I mean, people have said this before, but this is a new study that came out specifically just saying, hey, what's going to happen if we go down this path? And, obviously Vlad continues to, make comments and continues to push, in his recent, push about, he's barely started the action. In other words, everything you've seen from him is just the minimal. Like there's a lot more coming. So everybody should be ready. Part of that is chest beating. Part of that is, Ganda talk. But part of that could be legitimately what he feels and thinks. And if that's what he's going to do, we have to, understand that, or at least, take it for the value that he's putting on it. And understand what's coming from that side, of the conflict versus what's coming from the other side of the NATO, organization and all the countries and what they're pushing and what they're saying. So, we've seen a lot of these lines drawn, like if you send in NATO equipment, then we're going to retaliate. But then they did send in NATO equipment and they didn't really do anything. They just used that equipment and, Vlad didn't actually do anything in return. So, at least to the rest of NATO. So it's kind of, some of these lines have been laid out and not crossed, or laid out, crossed, but not retaliated, I guess I should say. So,
and by the way, so
yeah, go ahead.
And I just want to point out, nobody likes talking about this, especially the older crowd that went through this. Obviously, some, when they were kids, went through these drills, and it was very scary. But people basically, they were very terrified as children because schools were telling people to drill for a nuclear disaster and get under their desks and all this. Those people aren't as scared of it now as some of the people that are around now because they went through this. They're like, it's just, they say this, they say that. I am not worried so much about this as if you are a regular prepper and you're outside of a nuke, then you will, there's a lot of chance that you'll do fine. I mean, that wouldn't be the biggest kind of thing. If you're prepping just in general for everything, then that covers the same kind of prep you would need for this. Without iodine tablets. Iodine tablets are a good thing to have. But if you're in the zone of it, then it's kind of like if you walk across the street and get hit by a truck. If that happens, you're gone like that. That's something you spiritually prepare for. But people being afraid of a nuclear disaster, it's like if you're in the actual range of it, you're just gone. If it was like a Satan 2 and it hit my state, we would just all be gone. But, that's why I'm not scared of this, and I don't think anybody else should be either. But, what makes you less fearful of any of these things is just having general prep in general. I mean, just having food, having water, knowing knowledge of, being able to be sustainable whatsoever. That is, the whole thing is, this is, current events from a prepper standpoint. I think that... most preppers like myself, people have looked at us like we're crazy. Now in the last 2 years, people are starting to wake up. They're starting to go, holy moly, this was on its way. This has been in the works for decades. This is probably, I assume there's been plans for stuff like this forever. And now we are in this new world. Look at technology. Technology couldn't have just rapidly gone off the charts like this without having another kind of reset of power. Well, I think big mistakes were letting Xi and his country manufacture almost everything across the planet when you know what kind of culture they run and what kind of government they run. They're going to want to take over eventually. They're going to want to say, hey, the whole world should be like us. And think about what they do to people they don't like. Think about how they track their people. Think about how they surveil their people. Think about how they control things. They don't want anything patriotic. Think about how they're treating their own celebrities. One of the biggest celebrities in Xi's country had like a net worth of $400 million or something. They're like, oh, well, you've done this. We're going to fine you $400 million. Basically in one ticket, like, you were speeding. We're going to put the fee at $400 million. Just wipe it out in one go. That's how they do things over there. So they've got so much power and so much money now. Who let that happen? Companies let this happen. Companies let them gain all this power. The corporate companies that are the same ones that are trading your data and buying your data and doing all this stuff, those are the companies that completely sold us out from under us. And by us, I mean you, Europe, Australia, all these different places that depend on this kind of current system. Guess what? They want to change that. And some people in our country and in our government do too, because they're not going to be under that system. They're going to be sitting at the table with people, having dinner and doing their Bohemian stuff, their meetings and y'all. Yeah. It's very creepy. Joseph Collins, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate the cute little fox there. Same with Florida RN. Marianne Spinelli, again, thank you. Austin, once again, much love, Marv. Thank you for touching on the subject I brought up. And then JT, I put Marv on in the lobby in my tint shop to attract new viewers. Shout out Cutting Edge Window Tinting near Fort Worth, Texas. Okay, Foogle fam near Fort Worth, Texas, you got to go get yourself Cutting Edge Window Tinting. JT, just like I was talking about before, I hope that Foogle family members go through Foogle family businesses. If there's a tire shop in the fam, if there's a dentist in certain cities, go through a Foogle fam member if you can. I highly recommend we support each other before we support outsiders. Austin, her accent is beautiful. That is a very, very nice compliment for our last caller before, Wicked World. And then Mid Mofro, the veil is getting thinner. Peace, love, and Jesus Christ. Mid Mofro, thank you again. Survival Game, shout out to the Ann Lynn Show. They're almost to 2,000 friends. Let's love mob them, please. Much love. Well, I have no problem with that. Ann Lynn Show they are the official Marfoogle News grandmas. So again, if you guys haven't checked out the Ann Lynn Show, we'll actually add a link to the website. And then Johnny D, hello there, everyone. Blessings to you all. So yeah, if we can get Ann Lynn Show to 2,000 today, that would be awesome and amazing. If you guys don't know Ann Lynn, let's see here. Boom, boom. There we go. And they are only less than 300 away from 2,000. They do all sorts of fun stuff. They they were self-proclaimed the official grandmas of the Foogle family. So if you guys haven't checked them out, they do all sorts of fun stuff. They do more work in their videos than I see most people, and put a lot of effort into editing than I see, some of these new 20-year-olds that are getting into YouTube. So again, go over and check them out. The official Ann Lynn Show. All right, and Dex, let's get our next caller on. It looks like we have we have that Gen X dude, which is always in the chat. Thank you, that Gen X dude, being a loyal Foogle fam, calling from West Virginia. Well, you get that Gen X dude. I want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out EMP Shield. You can actually protect yourself against EMP. We believe this will save lives in the event of an EMP or a CME, a coronal mass ejection, or an electromagnetic pulse. This device is not only used by agencies like DoD, DHS, and the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. This is also something that a ton of the Foogle fam members have already done themselves. The car version, for example, it takes about 10 to 12 minutes to put in your car, and then your car runs when nobody else does. If we do have an EMP, again, right away, we would be, you would know. If an EMP happens, if your cell phone has no bars, your car doesn't start, and no one else's does on the street, then it's time for you to get going. Again, if you want to keep going, I would highly recommend putting an EMP shield on your car. When you go over to this, not only do you get a $50 discount, but that stacks on any discounts that they do. So if they're having any kind of sale, if they are prolonging any kind of holiday sale, all of our discounts always stack with EMP Shield. So that's $50 off per device, and then that's on top of any sale they're running. So highly recommend when they do a sale, make sure to hop over there and get that. Again, this also protects homes, generators, boats, RVs from lightning, from all of the above. You can't really, there are a lot of items that are too big to put a Faraday cage on. For those, you would wire in an EMP shield. It grounds the signal in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it fries your device. All right, let's go over to that Gen X dude, and again, is that correct? Is this really his first time call? I've seen him in chat for so long. That is correct, isn't it? That is cool.
I don't know. He may have called in before. I may have mislabeled that.
Well, there's two that.
Well, he's online. Let's ask him.
There's Gen X. There's also Gen X Voice, which there's a couple of Gen X folks. So let's see. That Gen X dude, you're live on Marfoogle News.
Are you sure? Are you positive? You know this is the dude.
Okay, so it was mislabeled. What's going on? And so what do you think about the Georgia Guidestones?
The avatar is me, man. Straight up. Secret's out.
Oh, go
you
ahead.
Can answer, man.
I couldn't hear
I know
you.
there's a delay. Go ahead.
I couldn't hear you, buddy.
Can you
I'm
hear
sorry.
me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Hello?
can. Yes, we can. Go ahead.
You sure? You positive now?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I've called you before, man. I've just been watching. That's all. Been lurking. But somebody called me out in chat, so I figured I'd go ahead and call. The Guidestones are crazy, man. But if people don't realize that something bigger is going on, I don't know what to tell them. That's why I picked my name for a reason. I grew up with this technology, man. It's at a breakneck speed. They're showing people everything now at a breakneck speed. Discoveries, everything. God, don't even get me started on the James Webb Telescope. Let people see that and see what happens.
Well, tell us, what about the James Webb Telescope? What do you think about it?
Man, when we see these first pictures, you better be ready. You better be ready.
So, in case people don't know, the James Webb Telescope is supposedly able to see back to the beginning of time, or at least that's what they say. They're saying they might be able to see the Big Bang or something.
Yeah, I get that. I know there's people out there on that fence. I get it. But I was born in 75, man, so I grew up without this technology. So, like I said, I used to think the preppers were crazy. They ain't. You better pay attention, people, because we're out here. We see you. Doesn't matter. We see you. Just because we don't speak up all the time doesn't mean we don't see you. There's a bigger distraction going on. Even your first caller, the girl, she blew me away. I'm watching this on a 55-inch screen, people. He ain't lying. He's telling you the truth.
Well, so did you see that? Did you see the light come from beside the sun? What do you think that was?
Yes. That's a big hole there. Adam, come on, man. We ain't got all night. Yeah, just everything I share and what's on my playlist, people, just go look at it. I'll just tell you that much. I'm not begging for subscribers or anything. But when you see how many I have, you'll know I've been around for a while. So I would highly suggest that if you want to get to who I really am. So, and that's the other reason I met you too, man, through music. So we got to give you an upgrade.
Well, yeah, and I knew I talked to you. It was just that it was labeled first time caller, and I was like, that's not right. So usually we do previous
you know,
or that.
You know Portland Andy, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
Come on. We're out here, man. We see it all, man. It's scary. It's scary. I'm gonna be honest with you. It is scary. And people, go ahead. You can go down the hole and think that these stones were destroyed by, oh, we have a weapon. Well, yeah, you can have that opinion. But at the same time, you can say it was an act of God. Just watch it. Dude, that takes power. Power. I worked in the quarry, for Christ's sakes. That takes power to break that.
What do you think they destroyed it with? What do you think they destroyed it with? Dynamite, or what do you think happened there?
Whatever it was, it came straight down. Whatever it was, came straight down. Just watch the video, people. Make your own decision. Take it with a grain of salt.
Well, and it almost looks like it would have to come from an angle. If you look at the ground from the top view, it's like the dirt is
yeah.
It's like it came down.
Ask any quarry guy. He will tell you that takes power. Power. Look at the spread. Look at the spread, people. Thank God nobody was near it. Jesus. I wouldn't even want to imagine. You ask any haul truck driver or anybody that works in the quarry industry or aggregate, that takes power, man. Ask a mason. He'll tell you. It's a rabbit hole, man. Make your own decisions, people, but I'm telling you, I'm getting ready to turn 47 in August. This is real. Wake up. Whether it be with the hand of God or anybody else, you won't make that decision, but I've made mine. I've worked in the shadows too long. I've seen too much, especially online. So I've always kept my mouth shut. Now I feel like I need to get all this out of me before it's too late.
Okay, so
no, I'm not crazy and I ain't tripping.
No, and I'm not saying you are. So what do you think actually did it? A missile or lightning? What do you think actually was able to do that?
It was some kind of lightning. I sat here and analyzed that video, man. If somebody's got it in 4K, please share it. Please, for the love of God, share it.
Well,
our cameras are better than that, people.
Well, I know. Why would they have such a crappy camera? It's CCTV, but almost all CCTV is better now. Dex?
I got a 4K security camera, for Christ's sakes, people.
Well, I made a couple of tweets about this, and they being the GBI had released more videos, and one of which was a person running up and dropping a bag or an item off there and then running back. But the question I had, and I posed out there, is when they put these videos out, they're taking screenshots. They're not putting the real video. Like anybody who has a security system knows the video is there. You can take it, even if it's an AVI file or some other format, you can just convert it and keep the high quality and make it an MP4 and load it up onto social media. And if they wanted to put out the full version, they could. But instead, they take a camera phone and they hold the camera phone in front of the screen and they record it. But what's also interesting is they put out the recording of the actual explosion and we see the timestamp. But when they put the recording out of this alleged person running up and dropping something off and running back, they don't bother making sure that we can see the timestamp. They make sure you can't see the timestamp. So it's just really sus in my opinion when I'm looking at these videos. Like, why wouldn't they put out a high quality? And, are they hiding something? If they're trying to get people to provide information, then you would put out the high quality video. And then two, why would they start covering up the timestamps?
And wouldn't you need that if you're trying to tell if you saw something, if you're trying to report
Well, they have it. Yeah, they have it. They have it because they're sitting there with the recording, the DVRs or whatever that are hooked up to those cameras, right? They've got the information. They just choose what they show us.
Good point.
Yep.
And they show the 4333 or whatever the time. Even my sister noticed that, and she didn't watch the show. She said, "Did you see it was 333?" And it's just funny because everybody noticed.
No, don't get me started about Jacob.
But you don't see everything else. Well, I'm more talking about the previous episode where we talked about this in the 33rd everything and all that. So. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I called Jacob.
Jacob Israel, or
it's Jacob Israel. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, no,
I didn't catch the news. I'll fess up to you. I'm an amputee, so I haven't got my leg yet. So I see a lot of crap. So I have time on my hands right now. So.
Well, again.
But yeah. Wake up, people.
I agree with you. Well, thank you. That Gen X dude, thank you for calling in. And again, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And until next time.
You're welcome, man.
All right. Well, thank you. And have a wonderful night. That was that Gen X dude from West Virginia. And again, we will have a link for his channels and his playlist. I really actually, I haven't checked out the playlist and stuff. We did have a creator that was about 2 years ago that put out a ton of different playlists of other folks' videos, and it was the most helpful playlist, and that channel just disappeared. I'm trying to remember what it was, but they took so many hundreds of hours and put it into playlists, and they basically had a guide to just every subject you could think of. If you wanted to look up the Mandela effect, he had a playlist on it. If you wanted to look up, say CERN, he would have videos on it. I think he even had a playlist of different Jason A videos, like some of the best. If you guys haven't seen Jason A, it's kind of crazy. Jason A, when I first started, I watched a lot of the Jason A videos because he put together these date-sensitive videos, and most of you guys know who he is. He would do, the craziest events of that month. And it always shocked me that when he would put all of those together, it would just blow your mind. There was, mass die-offs all over the world. There was fires all over the world. And just by him digging a little bit, he would be able to find all of these events would happen in a short amount of time. It's just, so great channel. I believe he was probably held back by something because he grew very fast in the beginning, and then I think got stifled or something, but he still makes those videos. I think what happened is he started telling more of his opinions, and then they stifled him because he did videos related to certain topics. Dex, let's see here. Let's go over some of this other stuff, including the web only.
Absolutely. So, hey, look, we were talking about the giveaway for a long time. It's finally over. So Thomas M is the winner, and he knows it. He's actually responded already, and they've already started, I think, shipping his bag too. So congratulations to Thomas M on winning the off-grid backpack. So really big deal there. But for everyone else, they came back and said, hey, we're going to do a special short-term